Boy, that was some great stuff from Coach Donnie this morning. That was really, really some good stuff. So we're here talking about new cars, and I got a couple things up there on the screen, some words, a couple quotes. But why are we talking about new cars? You know, how many people in this room handle new vehicles? Okay, quite a bit. Would you say today that we're seeing inventory day supply creep up? Right? You know, there's probably one thing, I mean, there was a lot of things that happened during COVID that were good. People made a lot of money. But one thing I think the OEMs forgot was we could sell cars to people with a much lower day supply. And man, they just went back to the way things used to be, flood the dealer with as many cars as possible, and that just does not create a good situation, especially today with 8% interest rates. You know, floor plan was a credit, now it's an expense, so it's real important today that what you get out of here is, you know, what a day should look like with a new car manager and how they handle new cars in VINCUE. So I've got some words up there: perseverance, purpose, and ambition. You know, think 3 words that, you know, we all should have at the dealership. You know, perseverance, persevere. We got a lot of stuff, a lot of changes we got to, you know, persevere with. Purpose, every day coming in, knowing what we need to do, and ambition, get better. Okay, a couple quotes here. It always seems impossible until it's done, Nelson Mandela. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's in the courage to continue that counts, Winston Churchill. 2, I think, powerful quotes, and Donnie, man, he had a ton of quotes out there. So, I mean, these are things that we need to do to be successful in the store.
So the 3 things that we're going to kind of talk about today, and Chris touched on it a little bit, is preparing, pricing, and presenting our inventory. So first, prepare. Daily life in VINCUE. What should we be doing each morning when we're looking at our vehicles? Now, we've all focused over the last, 4 years, 3 years, and we've all been kind of trained to used cars, used cars, used cars, used cars. We got to get our used cars. We got to get back to focusing on our new cars. We got to a point where it was very easy just to set your new car stuff and kind of forget about it because we didn't have a ton of inventory. We could charge whatever we wanted. It was super easy. So we're going to look at our new car dashboard. As we saw yesterday, that's going to be enhanced here in the next few weeks or so. So that's exciting. Confirming our incentives, managing opportunities, reviewing market data, looking at our CRM leads by model, inventory turn report. Then we're going to look at our pricing, our rules, our market pricing, rebates, custom discounts, accessories and uplifts, making sure we're getting all the information out there, and then obviously presenting. How do we stand out amongst the crowd?
So what does it look like, you know, for a day in the life of a new car manager or anybody that's handling new cars? What do we need to look at? You know, on our dashboard, we got to make sure that, just like with used cars, our new car inventory has the correct visibility online. You know, descriptions, photos, is anything, you know, missing anything? You know, we get, you know, bad information sometimes from DMSs. It's not on this page, but it could be where we have missing MSRP, missing invoice. If we are using pricing rules within the system and we've got cars that are missing MSRP or invoice, we've got cars going out online with what? Call for price, it's blank, it's wrong, a lot of different things. So making this green check marks is going to make your life easier in the new vehicle department and also used vehicles when you know, Dan and Tom talk about that. Rebates, we can see our rebates. You know, whether we're controlling your rebates or not, I think it is best practice to make sure that we are pulling in your rebates so you can see what is on your car, and then when we talk into some next slides, when you're pricing maybe cars individually, you'll see where you're at with your rebate stack. So I think that is, you know, really important, whether we're managing them or not, is have them in there so you can see the visibility. Okay, and think about it. You know, I know there's used car people in this room. Everything starts with new cars. If we don't sell new cars, we ain't got used on the lot. I mean, we can go out and buy a bunch of P cars, but that's not going to help our gross any. So it's optimizing this new vehicle so we can generate more sales out of that department to generate more trades for the used car department to be more successful.
So who knows in here how many hours a customer spends searching for a vehicle online before showing up to a dealership? Average is 7 hours. So 7 hours someone is spending looking at cars online, and it may take weeks for them to do it. How many dealer websites do they visit before showing up to a dealer? 2 to 4 is about the average. So your opportunity is very small. Your competition is really pretty small. If you're out there merchandising your stuff correctly and you can make it a quick impression, you have a better chance of getting that customer to come see you rather than the 1 or 2 other dealers that they're looking at. So first thing we want to talk about is CRM leads by model. So no surprise here when I got a little pointer here. Obviously, I'm looking at a Ford store here. No surprise, we have the most leads on an F-150. So this is a good area to kind of hop into and start exploring. This is also great for used cars, which our Tom and Dan will talk about in depth from used cars. But this gives us an idea and helps us determining what vehicles we're selling the most of, what we might need more of, and it can also help us make decisions on dealer trades. Like we talked earlier, Robo will talk a little bit about dealer trades, but dealer trades happen at the most inopportune time, right? Someone calls and they're like, hey, I need a car. I'm like, okay, cool. What do you want back? Whatever. Just send me the same thing. So instead of the whatever answer, we're going to show you some ways today that kind of dig in here and make decisions of, let me get something that move quicker. Let me get something that's beneficial for me. If you're asking for something, I want something in return that's going to help me, not just send me a car, whatever. And then it's what ages on you. Usually the dealer trade that you get from someone. So we can drill into this a little bit further. Once I click on my F-150, now I've got a year breakdown. So we're focused on new in here. So we're looking at the 25, 26s. And then, I can also help make decisions on my customer trade-ins that I'm taking in for a new vehicle. Like, this guy's got a 23 F-150. I'm killing 23 F-150s, just for example. And then we can then drill into the leads that we actually have on this vehicle. Now we all know if we have a lead, we've got to exhaust every opportunity we have with that customer, right? We want to trust our salespeople that they're doing the right thing, but we probably need to be making sure a sales manager, someone else, one of our best people is hopping into this, and we talked about it yesterday, like the funnel. Maybe we sold 10% of these, right? Well, let's throw them through the funnel again. Let's talk to them again. Let's find out what they're looking for. Maybe they need to switch vehicles. Maybe they didn't show up for their appointment. I've talked to so many dealers over the past 3 months or so, and we talk about VDP views and we talk about leads. And one of the things I've been bringing up a lot lately is, how many appointments do you have? It's great that people are clicking on your car. It's great that people are submitting their information online. But how are we doing when it comes to scheduling an appointment and getting someone on the lot to look at a vehicle? I don't know about you guys, I'm pretty sure pretty much everyone in here, I know this guy up front, if they're in your lot, you're probably selling them a car, right? Like they're not leaving. So we got to focus on getting them in the door, and we're going to show you some ways that we can merchandise our cars and kind of focus on that going forward.
So this screenshot here is we're looking at the inventory turn. So how many new car guys in here, when they're looking at their new car dashboard, click on that inventory turn and look at this information on a daily basis? Show of hands. Okay, not as many people that said they were handling new cars in the dealership. So what's the importance of this page? Well, we can determine a lot of things from here. One, we talked about a little bit, dealer trade, pricing, and ordering. So when you're looking at this page, from left to right, we can see how many cars we've sold. That's the bigger, darker blue number in the last 30 days, the prior 30, what we have in stock, and then the DS is the day supply number, and that's a simple math equation. We sell, based off of 45 days, we sell one car in 45 days. If I got one in stock, I got a 45-day supply, okay? This is a starting point. This is a 10,000-foot view. We're at the football game in the nosebleed seats right here. This can point us in directions. And then on the right-hand side, that's our market. Same information, okay? We can see, and what we're looking for is any deficiencies, either plus or minus. Are we outperforming the market, or are we behind what the market's doing? when we talked about dealer trades, okay? We got Bronco Outer Banks, 360-day supply versus the market of 58. New car guys in the room, we all love doing dealer trades, right? Makes our day, right? It's a blast, okay? To Jason's point, they always happen in the most inopportune time. Somebody calls up, hey, I'm looking for, a Bronco, Outer Banks, the one you got in black. Okay, no problem. And all right, you got one back in, I need a blue one. You got one, a blue one? Boom. And then to that point, that is typically the stuff that winds up aging out on us, okay? But if we were looking at this data and somebody calls looking for an Outer Banks, man, I sure as hell want a Big Ben back. Because if I know if I get one, I got a great opportunity of selling that thing in less than 30 days. Okay? That's where this report comes in for dealer trades. Pricing, same thing. I got 8 Outer Banks, 360-day supply. Now, remember, it's just a math equation. We'd have to take a deeper dive because we got 25s and 26s on this page. We'd have to click into that 8 and see, hey, maybe we just had 7 drop and sales haven't caught up yet, okay? So that's why this is a stadium view, but it points us in a direction to go to make the best decisions for the new vehicle department, okay? And then vice versa. The Big Bens, 23-day supply versus 77. Man, could I be priced too aggressively on those? Is there an opportunity to maybe, I'm not saying we're going to pop the price up a G, but maybe I can pick up $200-300 to raise the price. Compound that monthly, yearly. That adds up. Okay, so there's opportunity with that. And we can see any of those numbers with a plus sign. We can click into that, open up for us and for the market. We can see what Big Ben we sold, MSRP, how long it took us to sell it, and we can look at the same thing for the market, see who our competitors are, what they're selling, how long it's taken them to sell, what the MSRP looks like, so we can make some comparisons, and then that ties into ordering. We look and go, crap, back to that Big Ben again. Man, I got one in stock. I got some sales there, but the market's got 55 of them. How's my competition got way more cars than me? That's a conversation for our rep. Yo, dude, help me out here. I need some of these. Obviously each OEM is completely different when it comes to ordering what we can control, what we can't control. So the OEMs where we can control a lot, this is where we can put some pressure, try and get some cars. If we're ordering, hey, boom, let me get here. So a lot of stuff can be determined from this page. And then obviously you saw it yesterday. We got a new dashboard coming. That's going to have a wealth of information on it to help us in all these areas as well. Okay?
So we can get into an effective pricing strategy. Who uses pricing rules? Anybody price all of their inventory individually? Godspeed. Good.
So wait, we saw a lot of guys raise their hands that they handle new cars, but not as many saying they use pricing rules. Are we priced at MSRP?
Right.
Or we not pricing? It should be, hey, yeah, we're all using pricing rules.
So again, if most of you have probably seen this in our system, but back to our turn report, we can make decisions in here and really drill in when it comes to our pricing rules. Instead of just being the set it and forget it, right? It's like MSRP, 98% of MSRP, $500 over invoice. We can start making decisions drilled down a little bit further based on model, trim, things like that. Why would I price my Big Ben, right, the same price as my Outer Banks if I've got eight Outer Banks that I can't sell? Maybe I discount those more, and then I can take my Big Bens and leave those a little higher. And then if I'm seeing less traffic, I can always go in there and adjust it. But it's very important when it comes to our pricing rules to pay attention to these little squares right here. We talked about it earlier. This tells us how many vehicles that we have of this specific model or trim, right? I've got 3, and I've got this 1 right here. This is telling me I'm based my pricing rule off of MSRP, right? That's telling me I have no MSRP in the system. I have no pricing rule, right? If I have a pricing rule set at MSRP, and I have no MSRP, I have no pricing rule, right? So now I've got to call for price, or maybe I've got that pricing rule off an invoice and it's showing online at MSRP. So just a quick indicator of what we're missing so we can go in and make those corrections. Also, our map pricing. You can make sure that you come in here, make sure you set your map. It's not for everybody, obviously. So those of you that do have map pricing, you can protect yourselves in here. And then you can also set your date ranges. So, at the end of the month, if you want, this stuff to go back to MSRP or whatever it may be, come in here and set your dates. I would encourage you probably to be in here at least a couple times a month, checking out our pricing, adjusting it, just not the set it and forget it and be like, all right, well, we'll deal with it again in November or December, and look at that. So as your inventory moves, right, let's come in here and make sure that we're adjusting our pricing rules to reflect the inventory that we do have and what we're moving and what we're not moving.
All right, so pricing rules. How many people in here use pricing rules based off of drivetrain, engine, color? Does anybody take it that deep? Age-based? Anybody in here that handles new cars take a deeper dive into that area? Okay, not many.
Who's a Ford dealer? Anybody?
Up right here.
Do 2.7s move as well as 3.5s?
2.5s or 5.0s?
Five.
Okay, now, how many times does Ford jam 2.7s down you? Okay, all right, they do. So when we see that, we can price those 2.7s more aggressively than we can the 3.5s or the 5.0s because we know they're going to be our slower moving trucks. Okay, we got to treat those differently. All right, same thing, all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. Seasonality comes into play, or there's an oopsie, and we're not a front-wheel drive market, but somebody didn't click a right button and we get stuck with some. We price those cheaper. Okay. So just, this is all coming down to, like I said, floor plan expense. It can make or break you. And this is how we can fix, issues. And then right here, age-based rules. Anybody in the room use age-based rules? Okay, a little more there. I think today that, we need to focus on the age-based rules. Taking a look at, if we've got, 20 of something in stock, and I think we got to treat those differently if they move down through the age bucket, okay? And then the other thing is using this when you get a customer coming in on one of those vehicles to filter your inventory, because what's a salesperson going to do? They're going to go to the easiest car. You may have a twin that's 180 days old, and they're on the 10-day-old one. Let's get them on a 180-day-old one, move that out, okay? So just, use those price-based rules. They're going to, supersede what the standard rule is, and then those cars will just automatically fall into that bucket so we don't let cars try and get aged out on us. Yes?
So when they hit a certain age, will VINCUE reprice that car?
Yep, automatically. And then what's going to happen is you will see inventory numbers move into that category. So you'll automatically be able to know how many cars are following a 60-day rule, how many cars are following a 90-day rule. Whatever number you put in there, you will be able to see the inventory that is in that bucket. Okay? It's just critical. We got to, new cars are stacking up. We got to move them. We got to move them and never take our foot off the gas.
So then we get into obviously the individual pricing. So a couple things that we need to look at here, and I love this example. I've got my competition here and what percentage of MSRP they're at, and I can also filter this by MSRP, so I'm making sure that I'm looking at like vehicles, right? If a guy's discounting his car, 82%, I want to see what this 82% reflects, right? I just don't want to run in and price my car at 82%. What I can do is click on this dealership, hop in there, takes me straight to this vehicle's display page. I can see exactly how the car is priced, right? He may be discounting his vehicle, incorporating the rebates in it as well, and fighting that battle when they come into the lot and be like, I've got this for $12,000 off. It's like, yeah, but you don't qualify for this and this and this. So it gives you the ability to hop in there quickly to see what you're actually competing against and making sure that you're comparing apples to apples. This is a great place for a price leader, like we were talking about, you've got 12 white edges that showed up or escapes or whatever it may be. I'm going to price one of those rock bottom, right? I'm just going to throw it out there the cheapest I can get it, and then I've got to rely on my sales team and my sales managers to get them on a different one, like, right? It's like, let's find one. You want leather though, right? Like, you want the bigger screen. Like, you don't want that little tiny screen. So you've got your one out there that you've got priced super cheap. So anything that you price individually, like we talked about before, is going to override your pricing rules. So if you hop in here and you price 1 or 2 cars, it's not going to screw up everything. It's just going to change the price on this vehicle. Your pricing rules will still be in effect except for these specific vehicles. I can see on the right side how mine's showing online in my price stack. So I've got my MSRP, I've got my dealer discount, and if I have any incentives applied, and then it's going to show me what my advertised price is. And then over here is the price that we're getting back from the website showing that this is what our advertised price is.
If you go in and edit a particular vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
how do you get it back onto the price? You want to later on to get it back onto
Go back to the pricing rules page.
Yep,
Uh-huh.
because it's going to pin it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
One more, there we go.
when you're on this page, if you see a red push pin, and sorry we don't have that visual, if you see a red push pin, it lets you know that that car is priced outside of your pricing rules. And all you have to do is there'll be a delete button on the
Yep.
right-hand side, hit the delete, then it will go back to your pricing rules. If any of you are Conquest users, you know I think there was a yellow or orange color, and it would show you how many cars you had outside of your pricing rules. That's where you would come to do that. One other thing I want to point out here, individually you can go inside of a vehicle and see where all your competitors lie. You're probably not going to do that on every car. When you're setting your pricing rules, you're
Yep.
going to see 2 percentage ranges when you're setting your pricing rules. The top one is going to be your competition, where your competition at. The blue range is going to be where your vehicle is. So you can see where your competition is at when you're pricing your vehicles. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Thanks, Chris. Pricing with accessories. This is one of my favorite things in the system, and I came from a Ford store, so we had fun a lot of times with lifting trucks. I'm also from West Virginia. I can only make fun of Chris in here because he's from Kentucky. But we used to lift trucks quite frequently, put big tires, big wheels, things like that. So what we did and what we caught was oftentimes we were just repricing our truck, right? We're like, hey, we put $6,000 lift and tires and whatever, and our XLT F-150 is online for $71,000 instead of $65,000. But my customers are out there looking through the internet, and they can't really tell that my truck's got a lift on it from the photos. I mean, you kind of can tell, right? But at first glance, my XLT F-150 just looks like it's $6,000 more than the guy down the street's F-150. So what we can do is you can build in here your accessories. And this is more from a commercial standpoint that I've got up here. So, but also very important. If I've got a $19,000 box on my truck, I need to make sure that it's showing up on my truck, it's showing up on my website, the description's there of what it is and why it's so much. So you can do the same thing with wheels, tires, lifts, whatever it may be, any accessories that you're doing for your truck. And then we make sure we're merchandising it correctly so my customer knows, yeah, my truck is $68,000. I also have $6,000 accessories on it, a lift. Everyone likes a lift and things like that, but no one wants to pay out of pocket for it. They'll finance it. That's a lot easier pill to swallow to do $8,000 upgrades. But it gives you the ability to save this information in here quickly, making sure that your car is not getting out there online. Because it's what we would do is, you know, we would price the vehicle before the truck's even done, right? It takes a day to send it back there and do it. But today, what we're talking about basically is like all the little things. We want to make sure that all the little things are happening so we're not missing out on a potential customer who's spending 7 hours online. So making it easier, those things will save in there, the price will save in there. All you got to do is hop in there, click the box. It's going to directly go to your website, so we're not missing any of that information.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. You do Black Widow, you do Southern Comforts, boom, you store them in there, it creates a database. And all you do is go to that vehicle, check it, boom. Communicates to the website and gives you a breakdown. This is the rebate information. Like I said, if you're not having us pull in rebates and we're not controlling them, whatever, I think you need to have them brought in so that you can always check this. It's on the pricing tab It's right next to the new car pricing, rebate information. You need to just verify, hey, this is the correct incentives. If we are managing your rebates, they're automatically gonna, the top section is what everybody potentially qualifies for. The bottom section is your, conditionals, military, all of that. But you'll be able to see everything that's in here. So,
John?
yes.
So if you are a Chevy or a GM dealer, they will only take conditional and custom rebates from us. Any GM dealer will not take non-conditional rebates from us. D2C2 is going to control
Right.
all of that.
Yes. Yeah, D2C2 takes control. Everybody else,
And if you have VIN-specific rebates, you can select those straight from the
Yes.
individual vehicle as well. So you can select them globally, and then if you have a VIN-specific rebate, you can go into the individual vehicle and select them from there.
Yep, there's a rebate tab on there that you can select those VIN select, based rebates.
Applying custom discounts. This is one of my favorite features in the tool, especially when we're talking new cars, end of the month. We're like behind schedule, right? We need to sell 15 new cars in the last 2 days of the month. So let's have a blowout sale, right? I can come in here, I can build my own custom discounts. I can name it whatever I want, Brad's giant sale, right? I'm gonna have $5,000 off all my new cars for the next 3 days. Set the date in there. You've repriced all of your vehicles basically with this custom discount. You don't have to go in there individually, change your pricing rules. And then, Black Friday sale, Friday, Saturday. We have 2 days. We're gonna run this giant sale. We're gonna discount all of our new vehicles. It's just a place for you to hop in there and make that easy. If you just wanna do it on specific vehicles, you can do that as well. So if you're, slow moving Big Benz or whatever it may be, like we need to just do something to spark some interest online. Quick, easy. Set your date range so you're not running it over the time period that you wanted it to run. And then when it's done, we're falling back into our pricing rules and going from there.
Any GM stores in here? Yeah. How close sometimes what's that?
Is that for new cars only?
New cars, yeah.
You can't do it on used cars?
You can build in sales in the settings. I would recommend asking your performance manager how to do a sales event for your used cars. Yeah. It's not like that, but it is possible.
Yeah, for the GM stores. I mean, sometimes it comes down real close to SFE. Pop in there, do a little 3-day gig, so you get your SFE number if you need to. Okay, a lot of opportunity. So we got merchandising. Look, if we've done all the other stuff right, now we've got to communicate our vehicle in the best light to get customers to click on our vehicle. So how do we make our inventory more visible and stand out amongst the crowd? We're going to do that with photos, overlays, banners, and descriptions. So right here, now just whatever OEM you are, picture your vehicle there, but we got a Gladiator here. Guarantee it, somebody does a search for a Gladiator, there's a bunch of them out there, right? And when people are scrolling through on their phones, not their desktop, because we sit in front of desktops all day long, but they're on that phone, the thing that pops up first is the photo. How do we get people to click into our car? Banners, doing something different. Black Friday special, lease $499 a month, 0 down. It could be an APR on there. It could be, if it's a Jeep, you get $20,000 off, okay, because they got 900 on the lot, all right? We just want to create clicks because what we know, and we're going to see on the next slide, is that's the information people are looking for. Let's not wait for them to hopefully click on our car and find that information, because here's what we got. Third-party marketplaces, Auto Trader Cars, Edmunds, KBB, the average time spent on a VDP is typically 1.5 to 3 minutes, okay? Why is it in that range? Well, they're flipping through 15 to 20 photos at 5 to 7 seconds each, okay? That goes back to that photo with that banner on there. Boom, we want them to click in, okay? Because look, they're looking at MSRP, incentives and payments. If we can get incentive and payments, if it makes sense for that car, man, we've already got that call to action for that customer to click into our car, okay? They're also scanning for equipment, trim, different things like that. And then, hey, most are bouncing off because they got a lot of choices to pick from, okay? They're going to click to another VDP. We want them to click into our vehicle to get that opportunity for a phone call, a lead, that rare person actually walks into a dealership today. and then it's up to you to close them up, because I feel confident you get them in, they're driving off in a new vehicle. Okay, but we got to get that call to action to get them in there, and it's all about merchandising.
So maximizing our new vehicle descriptions are why buys. We all talk about why buys now. What makes you different than the guy down the road, right? Like, why should they come see you? What are you offering? Are you offering lifetime powertrain warranty on all your cars? Are you offering free oil changes for life? Free tires, right? Like, if you're not putting that out there, specific banners, perfect for that. Not everybody is looking at your website, like digging through your website or going 4 pictures in to find the slide that says lifetime powertrain warranty. We got to make sure that that's out front in front of the customers. Man, the sun's brutal. Key features and options, SEO keywords and phrases. I know Chris is a big proponent of this, and obviously we are too when it comes to AI coming out. But ChatGPT, like, utilize it. Utilize the technology that's out there for you to make you search relevant. One of the things I've found is making sure that you're talking about the area that you're in and the surrounding areas, because when people type in Google, dealerships close to me, if you're putting your information in there, the surrounding areas, it's going to help you be relevant online as well. A call to action. What's the goal? The goal is to get them to call you. The goal is to get them to show up. You've got to have a call to action. And obviously our legal compliance and incentives is also make sure you're CYA and all of that information. So we talked about today a lot of the little things, right? So we're going to finish off with a video clip and a movie that John and I both are big fans of. So you heard yesterday, our big thing here at VINCUE is game on. And that's us as a team. We want to work with you as partners. We want you to be successful as dealers. We don't consider ourselves vendors. That's not us. We're partners with you.
Relationship.
Like, reach out to your performance managers, ask for help. Like Jamie said yesterday, we have goals that we need to meet with you guys so often, but we want to meet with you. So don't feel like you're bothering us. Like, it's part of our responsibility, but we want to help. Call us, text us, email us. I tell all my people, text me, because we are on a lot of calls, but I can multitask slightly. So if I'm on a call and I can respond quickly to a text, I can do that, but I will call you and get back to you as soon as I can.
And look, we get so focused on used cars that we forget about new cars, and that's why we have this presentation. So make sure you are having these new car conversations with your performance manager. It is just as important as used cars.
So we'll leave you with this, and appreciate your guys' time.
Yes,
Thanks for all coming and paying attention today. We appreciate you.